know how to swim. Whenever I tell people that, they tell me to imagine myself in an airplane, flying over the Pacific Ocean. Suddenly, the aircraft drops, lights flicker, oxygen masks fall, and then the crew announces there are no life jackets. What will you do? At this point, I feel like we all can agree that swimming lessons are the last thing I need. I need a good lawyer. Still, I get why they ask. Because not knowing how to swim sounds like one of those fears that should be easy to fix. Except for me, it started when I was in the 4th grade. Back in my old school, we used to have mandatory swimming lessons every Wednesday, and I would be loyal to the safe, shallow end of the pool with my floaters on. Then one day, this teacher calls me to stand on top of the diving platform. And I stand there waiting for instructions. Spoiler alert, there were none, just a push, and I was underwater. I remember the panic, my nose burning, the sounds disappearing. I felt totally helpless. And it wouldn't take an Einstein to figure out that since then I have not swum with the discipline of an Olympic athlete. But over time, I don't know how to swim stopped being just a skill I hadn't learned. At first, it was fear. Then it became avoidance. Then it became a joke, and eventually, it became a part of my identity. That's how comfort zones are built. Quietly in the space between fear and action. So I started wondering, why is this space so hard to escape? And you will not believe where I found my answer. In quantum physics. Specifically in one of its most famous thought experiments known as the Schrödinger's cat. Schrödinger basically imagined a cat sealed inside a box with a mechanism that had a 50-50 chance of either killing it or leaving it alive. But until somebody opens the box and observes the outcome, the cat exists in this in-between state where it is both alive and dead at the same time. To me, the most interesting part about this experiment is not the box. It is the cat. Sorry, it is the cat. It's not the cat, it's the box. Because the box protects possibilities. Until it opens, reality doesn't get the final vote. And maybe that's how comfort zones work too. They protect versions of ourselves that we are not ready to test yet. Because the way I see it is that inside our minds, there is a box too. And inside that box, I find someone we all should call the safe genius. The safe genius chases one thing: possibility. The unopened box is his favorite place in the universe because within it, we are undefeated by reality. We get to believe that we are brave, talented, brilliant, and ready all at the same time. But when we open it, these abstract possibilities become proofs of who we are. And proof is terrifying because it can disappoint us. But wait, you know who loves proof? It's the mad scientist. To him, our potential is like a hypothesis waiting to be dragged into a lab. And between these two voices, between fear and action, we all enter this waiting area. And I call it Schrödinger's self. A place where staying possible feels safer than being proven. And the only way out is to treat your life like a science experiment. And to make it easier for all of you here, I volunteered to be the test subject of this crazy theory, and the first box I had to open was one built around my own voice. Now, I was always known to be terribly introverted, which is really funny because inside my head, I had entire speeches waiting to escape. But the first time I actually let one of them escape in a competition, I fainted on stage. I literally fainted on stage. Over time, my safe genius constructed a cage, memorized speeches, rehearsed lines, and a silence that I could just hide behind. Then came a state-level speaking competition, and the plan was foolproof. I would handle the prepared speech, the safe, the easy one, and my partner would handle the dangerous part. the extempore round where you speak on the spot and the topic is just given to you. That morning, my partner drops out. But I still give my speech, I survive it, and then, just as I'm about to step off the stage, the judges stop me and ask, Yashvi, would you like to attempt the extempore round too? Oh no. For most of us living in Schrödinger's self, this is where the safe genius takes a hypothesis. For example, can my voice survive without a script? And runs a failed version of this experiment in your head. This convinces you that you are better off just staying possible. You get endless anxiety, you get paralyzing dilemmas, you get impossible overthinking. Which is why my first finding is simple. Push the handbrake on that simulation. Create a point of no return, unleash the mad scientist before the safe genius can pull the brakes. For me, that meant saying yes. Now here comes my second finding. And to all you doctors here, this may sound a bit medically suspicious, but stay with me. It's called selective amnesia. Now, when you say yes, you're not safely inside of Schrödinger's self, but you're not fully out either. This is when the safe genius turns into a defense lawyer and uses all your failed attempts as evidences to shut your experiment down. So why not look at evidence differently? When your life is a science experiment, your past experiences are not verdicts or ultimatums that stay with you for life. They are data sets. Some data is useful, some is outdated, and some deserves to be thrown into the bin before it contaminates your next experiment. So I took my hypothesis and I walked towards the stage. And then the worst possible thing happened to my theory. It had become practical. But then, slowly, something incredible happened. I let go of my anxiety. I stepped out of my comfort zone and I slowly found myself taking that mic and I spoke. And I ended up winning first place. That did not happen. I just wanted you to enjoy. That did not happen. I just wanted you to enjoy a beautiful moment where all this sounded simple. In reality, I walked off. I couldn't do it. Which is when I realized that the mad scientist can take me to the edge, but only one person can make me jump. One really dangerous person I don't like thinking about. My 4th grade swimming teacher. Which is why my final finding is called plunge. Nobody learns how to swim by staring at the water from the edge. You learn when you're underwater. And if you're like me and you fail, congratulations! You still made a discovery about yourself that's worth billions of dollars. Looking back, my whole life has been opening boxes again and again. Whether it be joining football at 11 when I was the only girl in my class there, or holding my ground in a debate stacked against me from the start, or whether it be talking to thousands of girls about something like periods, which ended up taking me to the United Nations. That day, it was walking back on stage, and I did. And if I hadn't done that, I would have never found the freedom in my voice that lets me stand here and speak today. Which just shows that potential is powerful, but tested potential, it's transformative. But here's the scary part. I don't think a lot of you are ready to hear it. Most of us, not even most of us, I feel like all of us are living in Schrödinger's self without even realizing it. Because the most dangerous comfort zones are not the obvious ones. They don't feel like fear. They are invisible. The job we wake up to every day, the routine we never question, the habits we keep defending, the patterns we conform to, and slowly the box disappears. Not because we escape it, but because we call it who we are. So when the box disappears, I want you to create one. Find the smallest action that tests the identity that you have accepted for yourself. One question, one sentence, one step. Which brings me back to where I started. I still don't know how to swim. But now when I say that, it feels like an unopened box. And maybe one day I will open it. Because at the end of the day, when all is said, when all is done, a life fully lived is not one spent in the interstitium of Schrödinger's self. It is unpredictable, exhilarating, and full of discovery. Just like a science experiment. Thank you.